ومن أحسن قولا ممن دعا إلى الله وعمل صالحا وقال إنني من المسلمين.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salam ala rasulihil kareem wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een bi rahmatika ya arhamur rahimin. Dear viewers, assalamu alaikum and welcome back to our book club. We have taken a short break due to many things that were going on, and then we experienced a short kind of a winter storm here at in Dallas as well. So, all these things then pile up and the breaks come in. But nevertheless, we are back. And inshallah, we are back with our wonderful book, The Boy Crisis. All of you have been enjoying it. We are getting very positive feedback. So many people are also giving suggestions. And, we are getting a lot of questions as well. But along with that, we're also moving towards the end of the book. I think we only have, 2 or 3 more topics to cover. And those will be covered with our special guests, inshallah. So, but we are here today. Our chat is also there. You can also, send questions and talk to us on chat as well. Send your comments, and we will try to include them in our program. And as always, Afreen is here with me. Afreen, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam, Aminah.
How are you, Afreen?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So, as you know, that always the two of us talk about what we picked up from the book, and the discussion always makes it more robust, more enriching for a topic. So, Afreen, what did you learn, or what did you pick up from the chapter you were supposed to read today?
Alhamdulillah, today, Aminah, we did the chapter "What Dads Do Differently."
Exactly, and that was a very good topic. Even the topic that what dads do differently, because especially in our times when we are more into why gender roles or why there should be a difference. I think this was a very good thing.
In this whole chapter, one thing I learned was, even me being a mom and living with my husband and my children, I really never thought that what the author is showing here, I never thought that these things matter.
Exactly.
I always believed in like sitting and talking to the children, explaining the right from wrong, like having a chat. But the way author has put in this chapter about even the regular things, even the teasing that they're doing.
Exactly. And I really like that thing when he says this teasing, or what was that, hazing?
Hazing
kind of a thing. And did your viewers, when I was talking to my kids about this, they were like, hazing, mama, that's not a good term.
Yeah, I know.
He uses this term in the book, and he says that this teasing, the way he says that this teasing increases their threshold for criticism.
Right.
And you would never imagine.
No.
That part is so important.
And also, like, I never thought that it is forming that bonding.
Exactly.
And children are actually liking that because they think that they're getting that attention from the father.
Exactly.
I never took it like that.
And we never thought that it was such a critical element of tarbiyah.
Right.
And and the one thing was that when he said, when men, they tease each other, and only then they trust each other.
Yeah, subhanallah.
How different is it for the women?
Yeah.
We're teasing.
We mind. We take it to heart.
Yeah,
so over here, Aminah, the chapter starts like, dads and moms both love their children deeply, but differently. They have different ways of setting boundaries and enforcing boundaries. Exploring in nature, roughhousing, creating teachable moments, challenging the kids' limits, using hangout time, and different attitudes towards teasing.
Yeah.
Researchers have also documented dads' greater tendencies to walk a fine line between safety and risk-taking, juggle the roles of player and coach during play, and be creative, spontaneous, and silly.
And Afreen, isn't that, dear viewers, and I think you would also agree, we are kind of, when it comes to taking risks, we are not, as
No.
mothers, we get very worried actually.
Right.
That no, don't go there, or don't do this. It might end up. But the dads would also like, okay, go do it.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
kind of a thing. And you yourself as a mother don't find that courage many times.
Yes.
Like, when they were learning how to drive.
Yeah.
There's certain limits that dad would push, and he was like, no, he's not there yet, don't do it. Right?
Yes, absolutely, Amna, absolutely. So after this, like the author has given us some examples, but then he said that dads usually tend to turn life into a game.
Yeah.
Like, and also one
More
of the
hands-on, I would
more
say.
hands-on.
With moms, we are more into discipline, routine, homework time and dinner time, or, more into like, did you change clothes, or did you take a shower?
Right.
But the dads are more like, they kind of turn things into a game. And I think that builds a lot of, this idea of that, not everything is a routine. Sometimes you can test the limits as well.
Right, right. I mean, one thing in this chapter, it might come further, that how when the mom is saying things so many times repeatedly, the children are saying that we don't obey. As
like, it's mom's job to keep saying it. Okay, mom.
And
okay,
even if
mom.
she's mad, she yells, whatever, it doesn't matter to them. But dad says it once. Somebody who's always silly and joking and all that. And then when he says it, the kids just do it.
Exactly. Because for them, I think, dear viewers, you will also agree with us, with mom is like, mom is always like that. She always wants to keep things going, things done. And dad is also, but when dad is serious, it is serious, right?
Wow.
But I think, look at that. How much these things are needed for the proper upbringing of a child. Of course, mothers and father, both, they do what they have to do. But if one thing is missing, that's
true. So it says that 7 other parenting styles dad tend to do with both their sons and daughters that create tension between mom and dad if their value to the children is not understood. So these are like 7 things that the author is listing where the mother has to understand what the dad is doing.
Of course.
So first is boundary enforcement versus boundary setting. So mothers are setting the boundaries.
Exactly.
But they are actually not enforcing them.
Or they can't enforce, like we just talked about. Mom is saying, it's like, oh, mom is nagging. Or, mom keeps saying that. Okay, mom, all right, I'll do it.
Yeah. And Amna, some of the doctors, they have done research and stuff, and they figured that even though mom set the boundaries and all that, but when the kids are insistent, they just keep saying, please, mom, please, mom, please, mom. Mom say, okay, fine.
Exactly. Because, I think, and dear viewers, maybe you can also chime in, as moms, we want to please our kids. We want to, we have a lesser threshold to see them as worried or down, and kids take advantage of that.
And they know how to. One of the kids in the interviews, he literally said that I have different ways how to make my mom say okay.
Oh, but not the dad?
No, different ways. So sometimes he'll say, I'm up late because I have so much homework. Even though he's saying himself.
And mom
and sometimes
like, oh
he'll say,
goodness.
Stomach pain, this, that. And the mom will be like, suddenly, okay, don't worry about it. Amna, this
my dear, you were up so late. And maybe he was just playing games, right?
But dads don't do that. So moms often ask me, why is it that when I speak, nothing happens, but when their dad speaks, the kids drop everything and obey? So this is...
because you're always saying it probably, and dad only says it when he really means it.
Yeah, perhaps the most important reason is because moms are most likely to set boundaries, whereas dads are more likely to enforce boundaries.
Yes, I truly believe that. I don't know, people can think about it as, difference in gender roles or whatever, but I truly believe that. Truly believe that.
So here are some of the outcomes of father involvement that are related to boundary enforcement and impulse control. Children living with dads are less likely to have discipline problems. This is despite the fact that dads are less likely than moms to use physical discipline.
Exactly.
And 5 to 11-year-old children with moms are 259% more likely to go to the hospital.
Wow. Okay. Okay, yeah, so we were over the, like teaching a child to treat boundaries seriously teaches him or her to respect the needs of others. This was also very good. Like, like when dads enforce boundaries, it also teaches him to respect the needs of others as well. Yes, you're very right about that. Yes. And look over here, it says, my mom warns and warns. It's like she cries wolf.
Yeah.
My dad gives us one warning and then he becomes the wolf.
Man, Amna, this is so true.
I like this so much. She cries wolf and he becomes the wolf.
We're only wooing Amna all the time.
But this was good. Like teaching a child to treat boundaries seriously teaches him. And that's the thing, Afrin, if we might think, maybe if we are setting boundaries or the dad is enforcing boundaries, we're hard on them or things like that. But this is one thing that teaches them to treat others with respect. And dear viewers, maybe you will agree with us, but this is one complaint that the society now has. Like, nobody cares about what other people feel, especially social media and the cancel culture. Like, this thing that it's all about me, my views, what I think is right, and caring about other people is kind of, and I think it is because of the bad parenting as well.
Absolutely, Amna. So then he gives many examples of how children take advantage of mom's little bit easygoing, but with dad they don't play those games.
Yes,
they don't play those games. So,
and I remember that in school, when we were in school, and there was a kid in class who is mostly it was a boy, rarely it was girls. But whenever this boy is having too many discipline issues, the first thing the teacher would ask the parents, is everything okay at home? Remember that thing?
Yes.
So the same thing is over here, that the children living with dads are less likely to have discipline problems. Yes. So I think this is very very insightful.
Then over here, Amna, dad's contributions are more counterintuitive.
Yes.
First, that empathy is a virtue, which when it only goes from parent to child and is not required of the child becomes a vice. And second, that empathy for a child's desires does not imply being controlled by the child's desires.
Exactly. This is so good.
So when, I feel like when the moms, our hearts melt looking at the child make that sad face or cry or something, we are actually, yes, we are empathetic, so we do that. But we are also giving in to their desires.
Exactly. And which can lead to not respecting boundaries of other people. They're not always going to be with us.
Right.
They're going to grow up into young men and women and go out and, in the world.
Right.
But if this is the case, then what's going to happen is that they will not learn. And dear viewers, you will agree with me. Afrin, what do you think about that? How many times we get these complaints, especially in terms of marriage and young couples and whatnot, that the husbands, many young girls right now, that they don't know how to respect, this thing that other people can have a different view or can have a different goal. This idea of support is still, people complain. And then we say, no, it is because of the society. No, it is because of the media. I would say this is the result of bad parenting.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, in the next page, moms can enforce boundaries too. Some moms can.
Yes.
So boys are to dads and boundaries as bees are to flowers.
Yes.
And pollen.
Yes.
So boys
So
for
important.
dads are boundaries as bees.
Yeah.
Bees are to flowers and pollen.
Yes.
One of my most poignant memories is of my father standing on the doorstep looking at his watch if I was late home. The fact that someone was looking out for me and cared enough to do that instilled a sense of security.
And maybe, Afrin, at that point when this was happening, the boy would be like, oh my God, look at the dad, he's always on my back. What if I'm late a little bit? Look at his dad and his dad and his dad. But now, as he has gained more maturity, this has become an expression of love for him.
Yeah.
You know?
Amna, this was very sad for me. One of the, so this single mother, she invited a Marine sergeant to her house to teach her son some discipline, because he was out of control. She was not able to control him at all.
Exactly.
And then the sergeant, they thought that they will scare him.
And the boy is just 10 years old.
Yeah, and as a sergeant railed, he literally railed at a 10-year-old boy. He concluded by asking the boy which he wanted to shape up, or he threatened, do you want me to be your daddy for the next 8 years of your life?
Yeah, like he's like threatening him.
And scaring.
I'm going to be here and treat you like a dad and enforce boundaries. Yeah. And look at what the child said.
The child says,
The child said, yes.
The rebellious boy pleads, yes, sir. I'm not.
Oh my God. And look at that. Why do you want me to be your dad?
Yeah. Then he was stunned. He was stunned. The sergeant was stunned. And he responds, why do you want me to be your dad? Yeah. The boy looked at him sadly. I have no daddy. So even the one who is imposing and enforcing and scaring.
Exactly.
It's such an important thing.
And yes, of course. And I don't know, where did we get this idea that no, kids don't. They like that. Like he said that, dad was standing in the door looking at his watch, of course angry when he's late, but he understood it as an expression of love. Yeah.
That was something, even us as moms, I think we don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
I have this, that most of the women are always complaining.
And sometimes this happens too, I'll admit this. In front of everyone. Sometimes when dads are enforcing boundaries, you feel like he's too hard on him.
Yes. We all do that, yes.
And sometimes you feel like, you get a little upset, don't you think you're a bit too hard on him? Or why do you always say things like, but, now reading this chapter, we realize how important that is. And you know why, how important that is, and why is it? Because it teaches them to respect the boundaries of other people. Yes, this is so important. So then, this topic also, Afrin, was good for me, that, do kids sense when a boundary will be enforced? So he says this segment from the today's show offers, illustration of that. That, they realized the setup, a hidden camera records actors playing teenagers who are clearly under the drinking age. And then, they kind of have this woman come in and they want her to buy the drink. And she says, no, but she gives in. Right? But what happens the next day is that, what happens next is that she interviewed the women, and the women confessed that their desire to please trumped what they knew was right, even though the lady knew that buying drinks to these underage teenagers were not right. But her desire as a woman, having like an empathy and all of that, trumped her thing that, she knew this was right. And there are many examples like that. Afrin, I remember this story, and you must have also heard it. We had learned it in our childhood, the story times, or, this boy. I always used to hear this story from the elders in our house, that there was this boy, he was presented to the judge because he had become, a thief. And he had done this, such, outrageous theft, and for that he was caught and he was presented to the judge. And now the judge is like, asking and, looking at the witnesses, and then finally decides on him that yes, of course, he has done that, he's going to be punished. So before he's taken away, the boy asks the judge, I have a last wish that I want to be fulfilled before I go to the jail. And the judge asks, what is that? Yes, I want to meet my mom. So the mom is brought, and what he does to the mother, that, when the mother comes close, he bites her on her hand. So, and the mother asks, why? And he asked his mother, why you never stopped me? Whenever I would bring things that you knew I had done something wrong to bring those things home, you never asked. You never told me that, where did you bring this thing from? And now I've become this, but if you would have stopped me.
Yeah.
And I think this was very profound.
Yeah. And I think he says, today I am, I read that story, Aminah. He said, today I am being hanged.
Yeah.
And if you ask me, before me, you should be hanged.
Exactly.
When he said that to the mother, I was like, because I am here because of you. That's what he says, that when I did a small theft, you hid it. And you saved me.
Yes.
Then I did a bigger theft, you saved me again.
Yeah, maybe she was saving him from his dad, who must have enforced it a bit harder, or she was maybe, she was not enforcing it herself. Her love was,
Yeah, even though she says that it was because I loved you, I wanted to save you. He said, no, you did not. Your love did not save me. I am where I am.
I am where I am, exactly.
Subhanallah. Yeah. That story was very touching for me also.
Yes, that is true. But dear viewers, it's not that, we are saying that moms cannot enforce boundaries. Of course they can. But he's just presenting this case over here, is that in a situation that, Allah Ta'ala has made both parents, right? And this is why, the role of both of them complement each other. It cannot be said that mom can, and Afrin also, it's just too much for one parent to do everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So now that this also has some paragraph about work from home, which is right now, so many of us are working from home. IT industries all work from home. Yes. So many people are work from home. So this says that how important it is of this boundary enforcement, how important it is now that people are working from home, they're able to do it with discipline only because of that. If they don't, if they lack that, they won't be able to work from home.
Exactly. For there's no one to, call you to a meeting or tell you, this is the time. Of course.
Yeah. So why then does working from home frequently fail to work at work? In part because working from home requires self-starting. The children raised with poor boundary enforcement rarely master the postponed gratification and self-starting requires.
So he's talking about when these boys grow up and they now become fathers or breadwinners or whatever, and now they have not been taught how to set boundaries in when they were younger.
Yeah.
So now if they have not learned that when they're in their adulthood, then it becomes also difficult for them to enforce boundaries. I think if we can apply it to other things, for example, now we see divorce rate.
Yes.
Divorce rate
That's the
is
next
also,
chapter, yeah.
Is because people are not able to enforce boundaries even for themselves. Like, for example, one thing, I was listening to one of the scholars, and one was asking him, at what point you should divorce your wife? The question was, this guy is annoyed with his wife and is asking the sheikh, till what point do you decide that this is enough and I don't want to? And I really liked what the sheikh said. He said, first of all, understand and ask yourself, how many times are you going to do that? Is it the problem with the wife, or is it your habits that are the cause of that? And then he said, you know what? How long or how many times are you going to do this? But if you change your habits, if you change your perspectives, maybe this will work as well. But sometimes, dear viewers, we are not able to enforce boundaries on ourselves, but then we expect from other people. That other people are supposed to make us happy as a husband or a wife, but then I'm not able to put boundaries on myself, that I have to also give in and respect other people's boundaries. So I really like what the Sheikh said. He says, how many times are you going to divorce women? If you're not happy with this one, maybe the other one has other issues, So why don't you first consider that, will it change your situation, that if you change your habits? I really like that.
Yes,
but that comes with when people are taught to respect and
also you have to be open-minded, and accept that we are also humans and we have flaws too.
Yeah, and like you said, postponed gratification. Sometimes you're doing and you're not getting the gratification. It doesn't mean you just run away from that place.
Amna, there's some of the questions on the chat, so just wanted to address those. Mr. James says, a male perspective and commentator on this topic would resonate much better. Part of the problem for men these days is women's opinions on how men should be. Then
we totally agree with that. We totally agree, and this is why we will have males as guest speakers, but because the book club is run by us primarily, and also I completely agree with you, but the reason we picked up this book is that we were seeing a lot of that, the rise of feminism and women not being able to to look at this perspective, because we as mothers are also raising sons.
Exactly.
That was the part of the reason, and maybe I mentioned it in the beginning of the book club. I teach at a university and I teach undergrad, and the university gave us this project that our male population is going down. The males enrolling in the university is going down, but we have more students, but most of them are girls. And this is a state regional university. So when we were going through that, I realized that it's not just that boys don't want to learn or they don't want to, it's that they're having a crisis of meaning in their life.
Absolutely.
And this was the reason we picked up this book, but totally agree.
Yeah. Someone else, Fazal Syed, wrote that what are the 3 simple tips for kids of 15 to 19 years young men? He wants some simple tips for 15 to 19 years.
Like to raise them?
To raise,
or
yeah.
Like, how to raise those boys?
I think that's what he's meaning, yes.
Yeah, so it is coming up that, he will talk about that. But I think the one thing that he mentions in the beginning is that the men should be involved. The dads should be involved with them. And I think the second one is what we read today is enforcing boundaries. That is the second one. And then I think another one that will come up later on is that how can dad bring meaning to the son's life? Like, and we discussed this in the previous book clubs, maybe you can watch that. And we had one with Ustadha Bajor, the education director at our Masjid. That was really good. He also was pointing that out. But I really think that one thing that we can show our boys is that careers are temporary. The family is forever. Instead of our society puts this thing on them that your love is like how much you do for the family, how much you earn from the family, like that we discussed, that you love by being away from them because you're earning and all of that. But taking that away says yes, but being involved with family, being part of that also will bring a lot of meaning to the boys, especially between the ages of 15 and 19. I think in a nutshell, boys miss their dads.
Yeah.
Arfin, are there any more questions or comments? Maybe we can just focus on that.
Yes. It says, somebody wrote battery problem.
Yes.
What if a father not involved in kids like their progress? What is good or bad, and mom only dealing with all? What's the suggestion?
Yeah, that's a good point you raised, because that's exactly what's coming up for next week. They're going to tell us that what does it mean, like dad being absent from the life of children. What does that really mean? So the author, Dr. Warren Forrell, does talk about that absence means like they are not familiar with the dad in a good way. For example, he did talk about that maybe dad has passed away, but he is mentioned positively in the life of the children. So these kids are not dad deprived, or things like that. But the next chapter where he talks about the 4 what was that, Afrin? The 4 Ds of divorce or something.
Yeah.
So
the next chapter is completely on divorce.
On this, that when
in the event of divorce, the 4 must-dos.
Must-dos, that if the dads are not involved, or the kids live separately, or the mom and dad are not together. So what can be done, so that minimum, damage is done.
Like this chapter, basically, what I got is from this is mainly for normal families with husband, wife there, but still not appreciating what the dad is doing.
Yeah, so this chapter today was like that. You know, your normal everyday home where, you know, usually a mom and dad are like, you know, you shouldn't do this, and, you know, this is not the right way to, you know, things like that. But the next chapter he's going to deal with, if dads are not involved in kids' lives in any way or form, and it's the mother doing everything, what can be done to, you know, to have the, you know, the right things and not be impacted, and the kids not be impacted by this. So inshallah, we will see you guys next week. I hope and I pray to Allah Ta'ala that this was helpful and it will help us, you know, bring some changes in our parenting styles, in our homes. We hope and pray that this was useful. وآخر دعوانا والحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. And we will see you all next Monday. Assalamu alaikum.
قد أفلح المؤمنون الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون والذين هم عن اللغو معرضون والذين هم للزكاة فاعلون والذين هم لفروجهم حافظون إلا على أزواجهم أو ما ملكت أيمانهم فإنهم غير ملومين.